Hello and welcome to FECTalk. This is Tim with FECTalk.com. Today I'd like to talk about an old retired magazine called Playmeter. In the June 1995 edition of Playmeter, there was a great article written by Frank the Crank Seninsky. Now, Frank is the founder of Alpha Omega in the Foundations Group. One of the founders, I should say. And this article is 50 ways to go broke doing redemption. And I thought it was a great read. Some of it may be slightly dated, but a lot of it is very relevant. So I'm going to go through his article here and then touch upon things that might need updating or just put my thoughts on it. So with no further ado, we'll get started on that. So the article is 50 Ways to Go Broke Doing Redemption, written by Frank the Crank Seninsky. And once again, it's from Playmeter in June of 1995. So the first thing on this list is not knowing who your customers will be, not choosing the best redemption games for that market, and not having the best mix of games. You have to do your homework. You have to know who your customers will be. And choosing the best redemption games for the market, that's another thing that you'll have to do. It's hit or miss. You experiment and you grow into your market. And having the best mix of games. The best mix of games is going to be your percentage of how many redemption games you have, what's the percentage of merchandisers, what's the percentage of video games and pinballs and other. And just getting that mix down for your area. And you could get a good idea by looking at other successful companies in areas similar to yours. But for me, I would say it's got to be at least 70% redemption. Redemption is the bread and butter. That's what really draws the people in. The next thing on the list is having too many or too few redemption games. And that ties into what we just spoke about. If you have 100% redemption games, you're just doing yourself a disservice. You need to have that air hockey. You need to have the basketball game. You need to have some niche games where people aren't putting all their efforts into getting tickets. They might want to take a break and play a classic game or a pinball. So don't have too many redemption games and don't have too few because, like I said, redemption would be your bread and butter. It says on here you'll need an average of $200 per week per game based on the average game cost of only $4,000. A little dated, but you just scale the math up. The next one is not fully studying the demographics. There you go. It goes back to the first point of not knowing who your customers will be. Not knowing how many people are in the area. Not knowing the median income of the people in the area, not knowing the throughput, how many people travel through and go through your area. The next one is not making sure that your operator location contract is fair to both parties. So if you own your own FEC, that this doesn't relate, but if you're an operator or if you're a location that's looking for an operator, you want to make sure that contract that you do is fair to both parties. Now, if you are a great location, you pretty much got a captive audience, you could ask your operator for 60% of the revenue. And very likely they're going to be good with that because they know that it's a very profitable location. If you don't have quite that, they may want 60. It swings quite a bit of ways either way. It just depends on the demographics and who your customers will be. The next one, not fully checking out your partners or operator. They must have more than enough capital and be willing to keep investing in the location and in new games. You got to get new games. It's got to be fresh. You got to get new prizes. So another great point by Frank. Purchasing redemption games that are all hyped by the manufacturers and distributors. What that means is every company that makes these games thinks their games are the best games out there. They're going to put them in places that they know people real well, and those people are going to say, yeah, your games are awesome. But you just can't go by the hype. You got to go by experience. And that's what he's trying to get across here. Just because everybody says that this game is the number one game and, you know, you're crazy for not having it, you don't want a paperweight. So do your due diligence. Go by gut feeling and experience. Don't go by what the manufacturers and distributors tell you. The next one is believing the myth that you don't have to rotate redemption games. Wow, he really hit it on the head here, I think. Because if you rotate your games around in a constant manner, your fun center is always going to be fresh looking for your regulars. People will go in there, they zero in on the games that they normally play. And when you move stuff around, even though you may not have gotten new games, they're going to think you have. So this is really good stuff. The next one is not knowing that each redemption game needs to be set for a certain time of play versus an average ticket payout percentage, win percentage. And the location average ticket payout percentage should be 25 to 35%, depending on competition. There you go. Nailed it again. If I have other podcasts that I put out that go into great detail on this, and I think he's spot on. The next one is not treating tickets and tokens as cash. Once again, correct. You don't want to treat, or you do want to treat tickets and tokens as cash, or you're making a big mistake. Many of us have card systems now, so that takes that factor right out. The next one is thinking that techs that repair video games will pay attention to the details and time required to repair and maintain redemption games. There you go. They're not going to do that. Sometimes if you want to get something repaired on a board level, it isn't feasible. Sometimes it's just to buy a new board. If you could buy the new board for $300 and your tech's like, well, you know, I could go in and I could replace components, transistors, diodes, test everything and fix it myself. Well, yeah, they can. But sometimes it's not cost effective. Sometimes that labor and time put into that, and the time that game's down, takes more money than just getting a new board. So you got to weigh those options. The next one's not researching your state and local laws regarding redemption games. Very important. And I'd take it a step further. Join your local association for this. And hopefully they have lobbyists that are keeping an eye on everything, or at least lawyers that are keeping an eye on everything for you regarding your redemption laws. Very important. The next one is not rotating or changing out 5% of your redemption games each month. Great. A great way to do this. You know, like I said, people will come in, they focus on games that they normally play. If you make them have to look for it again, they're going to find other games and more interest in the other games and think you have new games. The next one is not placing games in an efficient layout that is eye-catching and facilitates customer traffic patterns. There you go. Frank the Crank knew his stuff. He was brilliant when it came. Well, he is brilliant when it comes to this stuff. And very good article. The next one's not having a flex up and flex down program. The next one, not realizing how labor and parts intensive operating redemption games are. It is very labor and parts intensive. If your ticket and token, just the jams alone is very labor intensive. The games, even with the card system, games have problems. They have things that get stuck, things that need to be released, cards or chips or coins that get stuck. It's just very labor intensive. And listening to one of my podcasts on PMs can very much help you with that. The next one is not accepting the truism that games are not the reason why people visit the location. They want to be entertained, and he's correct here. They want to get cool prizes. So he is once again spot on. They want to come in and look and see what cool offerings there are and fantasize about winning those prizes. Then the games are secondary. And they're going to find their favorite games to play to try to get to that goal. The next one is to let games make too much of the overall revenues. This is a sure sign that the location will not be able to survive. Yes, he's correct here. You want attractions, laser tag, mini bowling, mini golf, you name it. VR, some kind of VR. You can't put all your eggs in the game basket. You got to spread them out a little bit. Get some food and beverage. Offer different venues of entertainment. Be creative. And Frank knew this and does know this. Don't put enough time into training staff on how to unjam coins and tickets, load tickets, unjam balls, put the correct balls back into their corresponding games. He knows, with all this experience that he's had in this industry, he knows that everybody should have training on how to do the common things that'll go wrong with the games. Spot on. The next one, don't read trade magazines. Oh my goodness. Now, I actually know where he got this philosophy. He got it from Judy Zender Keller at the Bavarian Inn Lodge, because that's where my games are. And he had told me that when we had dinner one time. That's one thing that was a takeaway that he got from Judy, and it's 100% correct. Your trade magazine is going to give you an outlet of lots of information. This podcast will give you lots of information. There's other websites and such, but our main trade magazine is Replay Magazine, and they do a fantastic job. Not only do they when you subscribe to it, not only do they send you the magazine every month, but they will send you email updates several times weekly. Very informative. You really need to stay on top of your industry to be successful, and Replay Magazine is the way to do that. For $60 for a year, I mean, come on. I have 3 subscriptions to it. One for the office, one for my home, and one I got for my friend, Jenna Boyo, because she didn't follow this advice and resubscribe. So I'm just throwing her under the bus there on my podcast. The next one, don't discount tokens for parties, group events, and discount packages so that more customers will visit the location to prime the pump. Exactly right. If you do not do this, you will not be successful. I would take it even a step further and go out of your way to give away tokens and tickets on your cards if you're a card system, or make a voucher. Go to the churches. They are always looking for an outlet to bring the flock, right? Go to schools. Go to hotels. Tell them you want to be their fun center. Be creative. Just anywhere that you can make some kind of partnership and give away some of your, it's just going to come back. It's just going to come back to you multiple times. It's going to make you a lot of money. He was very wise and is very wise when it comes to this. The next one is not providing high perceived value items in the redemption counter. Wow. Okay. I would think that someone wouldn't need to tell you that, but that's the way you make money. High perceived value items. You got that hot item. You know, it could have been the fidget spinners, could have been the poppers. It could be a PlayStation 5. The perceived value are items that the public desires and they feel that are worth 3 or 4 times what you or the location actually pays for them. So people, they'll spend a lot more money collectively for your items than they would at a retail store. But they're getting an entertainment value, so the perceived value is higher. So they'll pay more in tickets than what they would at a big box store. The next one, have a poor redemption prize display. Correct, 100% correct. I've seen so many redemption counters or redemption stores that just have little bin items and a small smattering of plush. You got to have eye-popping and trendy and great prizes, and you have to put them together in a very attractive package with LED lights and flash and pomp to be successful, because that's what they look at. They look at what the prizes are, and then they formulate their plans and find out which games are going to get them to that prize the quickest. If you don't have no goal for them to set, then it's just not going to be very successful. And the next thing is copying the chains in early FEC locations. Now, I don't know, you kind of want to emulate success, but you don't want to be Dave and Buster's, or people are just going to look for Dave and Buster's. Set yourself apart. Don't emulate 100% of anything. Put your own spin on everything that you do in your fun center. The next one, he says, not having enough bill changers. You should have one for each 25 games. Okay, yes, that's 100% correct. Now, you may think, well, I got a card system. This don't pertain to me. But you should probably have a kiosk as well for each 25 games. And I do. I have 4 kiosks in my fun center, and it serves me well, especially in this past spring break. Oh, my goodness. Those things were lit up. The next one is, don't join trade associations or attend their conventions. 100% correct again. You need to join your trade associations. AMOA, IAPA. Go to the shows. They're just amazing. IAPA show's great. There's so many good shows, and you can learn a lot from them. And you're going to network. You're going to come back with great ideas that are going to make you more money. Just go Go to the shows, join your trade associations, be part of your industry. The next one says passing on the opportunity to work with a good operator. Now, if that's the thing that you do, absolutely. If you get an operator that doesn't invest money into your location by getting new games and rotating games and PMing games, they're just there to collect a check, they're not a good operator. They're not invested. They're just there to be a parasite of your business. So you want somebody that's going to actually put in some time and money to be successful with you. So kudos to that one, Frank the Crank. The next one is not understanding the term hit frequency. The next one is measuring everything except what is important. The next one's giving too many tokens in your party packages and not structuring enough time for your customers to spend the tokens. Walkaway tokens can cost you money. Absolutely. That is a thing that a lot of people with ticket and tokens do have a problem with. You could only put so many tokens in a machine in a certain amount of time. So if your party packages are just way too much, they're going to take those tokens home. They're going to run through their washing machines. They're going to be in their shelves. They're eventually just going to throw them away. That's costing you money. And that is also another benefit that people very often overlook with the card system. So you know that you're not filling tokens. You're not putting the tokens in the token machines, pulling tokens out of games. You're not getting the tickets. Everybody knows that. But right here is one of those things that are often overlooked. Walkaway tokens. Walkaway tokens cost you money. But lost cards don't. So get a system like Semnox. You know, if you're on the fence about a card system, contact a company like Semnox and you will make a lot more money with the system and a lot less labor intensive. You won't have walkaway tokens. You won't be breaking your back or your people breaking their back, dumping tokens into the token machine. If you're not on a card system yet and you're thinking about it, I would pull the trigger for sure. The next one is marking up the points for prizes. It's only fair to your customers to set the points in relation to your actual cost for the prize, taking into account freight and sales tax, if any. I go into these formulas in a former podcast, and he's absolutely right. If you don't have the right formula, you're just redeeming yourself out of business. The next one is not encouraging your customers to save their tickets for high-value items. Redemption develops repeat customers. Spot on again. And it's the same with the card system. It's even better with the card system because it's on a card. They don't have to lug tickets around in mass quantities. And great idea. Have those high-end prizes. Be glad when they buy the PS5. Be glad when they buy the mountain bike. Be glad when they buy the go-kart or the kayak or the big screen television. Because you know they're repeat customers and they're making you money. And you didn't lose anything on that big prize. You gained. The next one is not tracking the percentage of tickets paid out by your games each week versus the number of tickets redeemed. There you go. Another one, you know, these are lessons that I've learned from Frank the Crank's experience. And I love seeing stuff like this because that's what I do and it makes me know that I'm on track. The next one's permitting customers to purchase the redemption prizes or add money to their point total to purchase an item. You just gave away your secret. I've done podcasts on this too, and he knew this long before I did. You're giving away your trade secret, what your tickets are worth, what the wholesale value and the retail value of your tickets are. You just give it away. If you sell redemption prizes or let them add money to their point total to purchase an item. Don't give in to that temptation. If you want to do that, then you really need to have a retail store and sell stuff for retail. The next one is over discounting your tokens and increasing the number of tokens per play on certain games to offset this. Customers pick up on this quickly. In addition, the more tokens per play, the more token jams you'll have. It's an exponential ratio. 100% correct again. You discount your token price, now you're like 15 cents a credit. But now to make up for that money that you're hemorrhaging, you're making your games cost more credits. Don't fall into that trap. Do your research, do your due diligence, and get your levels right the first time. The next one is operating on quarters and not tokens. Well, there you go. Quarters, yeah, you guys know this. It's been gone over so many times before. If you're operating on quarters and not tokens or a card system, you're in big trouble. You need to get that fixed immediately. Next one's not getting out and knowing everything about your competition. Well, if you're not doing your due diligence there, then you're also set up for failure. Get out there. Go. Don't be afraid. Even if your competition knows who you are, it doesn't matter. Go out there and be one of their customers. See what they're going on. Bring an idea home from every place that you stop at, and it'll serve you well. And compliment them. If they got something great going on, let them know. Say, wow, that's a great idea. And compliment them. The next one is not keeping the noise level below 80 decibels. Well, there you go. So much noise pollution in your fun center is just going to... it gets to where it's very annoying. The next one's not reducing glare from lights or sunlight in the eyes of your customers while they're playing your games. Great insight. Great thing to share. Not knowing when to get rid of each game that you have. When it's becoming a paperweight, it's taking up valuable space and it's not making the money that it used to or it never did. You know, it's time to put something in that real estate that can make you money. Even if it's nostalgia in this game or whatever, take it home. Either that or sell it, get rid of it, throw it in the dumpster, put something there that's going to make you more bang for the buck in that spot. His next one is not evaluating or tracking the token value as often as possible. Next is not checking the prize inventory often to keep shrinkage to a minimum. You got to stay on top of that for sure. You don't want your less than honorable, less integrity employees filling up their coffers with your prizes. The next one is not checking out your competition's prizes, token size, ticket type, and I'll expand on that. Card system, how many kiosks do they have, what kind of lighting do they have. You need to check out every aspect of your competition, every aspect. The next one is not shredding or destroying redeemed tickets and checking their weight against what your records report, like a ticket eater number. Now, if you have a card system, obviously this isn't an issue, but if you don't shred these, somebody will eventually be checking your garbage and taking bags and bags of these tickets home to bring back later for free prizes. So that your tickets need to be shredded. If they're not going into a ticket shredder already, then you don't know your industry well. Next one is not knowing that many redemption game parts, motors, etc. can be purchased cheaper from other sources, and many games can be modified to make them earn more money. And this is thinking outside the box. I do several podcasts on this. I've written articles for Replay on this. The card pusher games are my thing. I make so many out-of-the-box uses for them, and it all makes me money. And it's the same thing what he says here about redemption game parts. Look at the motors. Some of those motors are on Grainger for much less. Some of the components. Be creative, and you could really profit from this. Some of the things that you have in cranes, you could source yourself, make your own prizes, and come out ahead. The next one is keeping the ticket payout percentage the same as the redemption game's earning decline. The next one is not taking advantage of progressive jackpot systems when banking groups of games. Yeah, I mean, learn from the casinos there. That's what Frank did. He knows. That makes you money too. Progressive jackpots are awesome. And now you don't even need banks of games. Single games nowadays will have a progressive jackpot that keeps building the more plays there are. Baytek's really good for that. The next one's placing single units of a redemption game in a location and not banking certain proven winners. Correct. If you have a ticket ring that people are waiting in line for, and that thing's just making money off the hook for you, why aren't you getting another one? Why aren't you getting the big bass that's making money constantly for you? Why aren't you getting two of them with the 5,000 marquee? 100% correct here. The next one, not using special ticket promotions, such as different colored tickets on a 2,000 bank of tickets or 3 sevens in a row of ticket numbers to promote redemption play. So have it where they could, what he's talking about is having a different color put in one of the blocks of tickets, and when it comes out, they get, who knows, whatever you have, free game of laser tag or a large pizza. Or if you have 777 in the numbers, they get a prize too. Now, that's great marketing. Way, way ahead of his time. And then the last one he has on here is not knowing all that you can about redemption. You should constantly look, like I said, Replay magazine, look online about trends for products, electronics, and they have their TRR report from foundations. Joe puts that out now, and great stuff. And all this stuff, even though some of it needs to be slightly tweaked to apply today, he wrote this article in 1995. So think about that. He was way ahead of the game in 1995 in teaching us valuable stuff today. And Frank the Crank's a great guy, and I every time I meet him, I love to pick his brain. He's a great pioneer of the industry. If you have the honor of meeting him, thank him, because he has done a lot for this industry. And I hope you hear this, Frank. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done for our industry. And your success has inspired us and, given us a lot of things that makes us successful too. So we thank you. So with that, I'm going to let this one go. This is Tim with FECTalk.com. I thank each and every one of you that listen to the podcast. I hope you get something from it. And I really enjoy the emails that you guys sent me. I get a lot of emails now, and it's really exciting to read them. And thank you for letting me know that the podcast has been a help in some way or another. And I just recently got an email from a industry friend in the UK, and I really hope that Minecraft picks up for you, because it's really a great game for me. The people stand in line waiting to play it. So maybe market it a little more, or maybe Minecraft just isn't as popular in the UK. I'm not sure, but I really hope it does work out for you and you don't have to sell it. So if you have any questions, comments, or want to send me an email, it's tim@fectalk.com. And thank you once again for listening to the podcast. Very, very much appreciated.